Okay. Did you receive those, Eileen? Sure did.
I'm logging into the Zoom meeting that I have to start for this.
I am here.
And
I
then
can
I'll
hear
check.
you.
I wonder if people thought Bill and Mother coming, you said.
They are. Mark's in traffic,
All right.
Anika's in traffic, Sylvia's in
It's
traffic.
ugly out there, so.
And Lawrence is smart, and he's gonna Zoom.
I am on the call. Can you guys hear me?
You can now.
Yes, Mark.
So you
Lisa
didn't have,
Lawrence.
you didn't have to deal with the traffic everybody
Lawrence.
else is dealing with.
I did not have to deal with the traffic. I'm dealing with Interstate 40 traffic in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, how is it?
It's windy, as if you've ever been to Amarillo, it's always windy, so
That's
it's
why they
living.
have all those, electric, things out there.
Yes, sir, that's
The
exactly
wind
right.
generators. There's like fields and fields of them.
And the trees are permanently leaning towards
Yes,
the
they are.
direction of the wind.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. They're permanently leaning. And the branches
Yes.
are facing one direction.
Yep, that is the place.
That's the place.
Robert, you did see my email up to this morning?
I did.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
You have some mistakes in the minutes too, so.
So I take it Mark's running late, or is I can't because I cannot see.
Did you see now?
I can see the room, but it's on my cell phone. It's such a tiny image.
Oh, so we're using the owl, Lawrence, so that's why it's showing all those little screens.
No, that's perfect. I like it. If I was on the house computer, it'd be perfect. I'm just using my cell phone. Somebody's walking in. Oh no.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so when they speak, you ought to be able to see them.
Yep, got it. Okay, I'm good.
Pretty Bob. All right. I have Monday on my calendar. I'm sorry? I have Monday on my calendar. Yes. Yep, and Sarah's going to bring her boss. Yep. He's supposed to have the language. Yes. Around this telehouse. He's produced. Yeah. And they present in front of, it's presented in front of Jerry's committee. Yes. And so, dinner with Jerry.
You said text?
Well, no, I sent them to you email. I just, Francine sent you a text to ask you if you got them, so I had to figure out, but I brought my computer.
It's going. Okay. Public comment, this would be nice. Did he? Yeah. Perfect.
And I mentioned it in public comment.
Good. So if Jerry just wants language about licensure.
You emailed me?
The governor.
Yeah, I shared them with you.
Right. So I thought Jerry was on it. And even though the elections now, he's there.
Nope, I'm not even
Until,
logged into Google.
Legislative session. Okay. Right. So he can still do something. Yeah, I can. And he'll always do. Yeah. He does indeed.
Hey, Bob.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Hello, how are you? Holding on. Holding on.
Bob, this is Crystal Moore. He's our attendance coach.
Crystal Water.
Kristen.
Yes.
Bob Edgar.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Bob.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi,
Thank
Carlos.
you.
Hey, Carlos.
Hi, Crystal. This is Lawrence Varela on the TV screen.
Hi, Lawrence. How are you?
Very good.
Crystal's our attendance coach.
Awesome.
Yep.
I never missed a day of school, by the way.
Take care of him. Well, then you'd probably never meet Crystal at our school.
Me either.
And we'd be questioning teachers whether they're taking attendance because it'd be all zero.
Got it.
Because if you're not if you don't take attendance, it shows you as present. Dion sandwiches over there, there's a variety of them.
Oh, okay, all right.
So they're set up that way so you can see what they are. And the paper's on there to keep the flies on.
Good idea.
Missing out on any. Somebody else on?
No, it's the echoing. Can you hear Lawrence?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yep, we can.
Okay, let's see. You shared two different things. Is it the same
Yes,
thing?
one middle school and one high school.
Middle school.
Yeah,
In recovery mode?
in recovery, yeah, doing exercises and going to rehab.
Yeah.
Does the high school just say EWS 2324?
The high school does say EWS, yes, and the other one says EWS middle.
So it is,
Which one?
4:33. Is Mark running late?
He is,
The
That's the
middle
middle
school,
school.
middle school, okay.
as is Sylvia and Benita. Ridiculous. And we don't have a quorum yet.
Uh-oh.
Shortly though.
Need some groups?
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, cheers.
My package? My package.
You ready?
Packet, I guess. You want to sign there, and then you'll initial. Okay? You're welcome.
Thank you. One minute. One high school, one middle school.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I want them to see what it is that we look at and
Okay.
and how decisions would be. Because it's not something that,
One high school and one middle school. Thank you. You're welcome.
And then there's a sign-in sheet for you guys.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
I have a pencil. You have a pen?
Yes.
Okay.
you need a pen?
Yeah.
You gotta take the little red thing off the end.
Oh, hey,
Take that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, yeah, okay.
Oh, you almost had one.
Pre-advertised.
oh,
Hmm?
You
is it?
almost had one with perfect attendance.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but those are all,
They look
they're
really
from
nice.
bodies,
They are,
parties,
you're right.
absences, excused,
Wow.
pensions.
The zeros,
Oh, the zeros, no.
Alejandro Garcia,
Well, we don't spend a lot of
almost
money
had
on
perfect attendance. Just
swag, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
So it's an advertisement.
Very good, you know.
I like this.
If they were crappy pens, I wouldn't want to tap them out, right?
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't,
Pretty good.
Doesn't impress anybody, right?
yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Somebody else is joining on Zoom, looks like.
Lawrence, if I have my screen turned off, do you still see all the little windows or no?
No, I see some type of icon that looks like a human, but now I see you guys.
Okay. Then I'll have to leave. I just didn't want to leave me on the screen.
Yeah, I have some of your mistakes.
What you mean, 10:26? Okay,
Yes.
just wanted to make sure you.
Yeah,
All right.
Sorry?
where was that at? Okay, because I had a few mistakes as well, and I had.
You're not the only one running behind.
Like,
And there's an accident right there too.
is
at
that
the
the
light
only
up
place
lane.
you had?
That's the only issue I have.
I had, two little ones
Man,
that I fixed already. I'll send,
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to put
Peanut
treasurer and
sandwiches.
warrants.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Lenika.
Hi.
You're welcome.
What is it?
So Robert, do we have a quorum?
We're 8. So we have 4.
We have 5.
You have 5.
Oh, it's you, yeah,
Lawrence.
sorry, I'm counting the people in the room.
Oh, no, Lawrence too. Do you have a quorum?
And who's
Yes,
like,
so I'd like to make a motion to Ricardo that we start our meeting.
your vice chair?
The reason I'm worried is I'm zooming in and I might lose my transmission.
Yeah, let's start the meeting. We start with roll call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Four 38.
Mhm. April,
Present.
Fatima, present. Bob? Present. Crystal?
Present.
Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Lawrence is present, sir.
All right. Well, when,
I'm present.
And Sylvia, Slade, Mark, you're both on the way.
okay,
So that establishes quorum?
yes, quorum is established, yes. So, first item is approval of the agenda. Any changes, any additions to the agenda?
We did get EWS on that. Thank you very much.
Hear none? Do I hear an approval for the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion has been made, seconded.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda, approval of, the September 26th, meeting minutes.
So there was, 3 mistakes that I'd
Okay,
like to fix.
go ahead.
Let's see, in the beginning, when I was listing the secretary and treasurer, I didn't put treasurer under Lawrence. Sorry, Lawrence. But I added
That's
it,
okay.
title. And then there was another, oh, I forgot, I refixed it, so, let me see. And then over there, strategic planning, I put the wrong date. So, let me get that other mistake, the second one, in a minute. Give me a second, please.
And so the correction is for the 26th?
26.
There's another mistake somewhere, but I already fixed it on my computer, so it doesn't help me.
Can you send me the?
For the minutes, what was it?
The first mistake was I didn't put, treasurer with Lawrence, because I added president, vice president, and I forgot to put treasurer with him. So I added it to the minutes.
Uh-huh.
And then the strategic planning, the date was wrong. So I'm gonna fix it. And there was one more I cannot remember because I fixed them on my computer already.
The corrected, date is what?
From the,
To the 26th.
26th.
Okay. So Chairman is in, so Chairman will take over when he's ready. We'll continue.
We're at the approval of the minutes.
What else? Is that it?
Mhm.
Any motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, been approved. Chairman's ready.
All right. Just did the meeting minutes, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
So public comment, are we doing the early warning and public
We're
comment?
not, because, so,
Yeah.
Lawrence really clarified that public comment doesn't allow dialogue. And so if there's anybody here for public comment, otherwise I've added the early warning system to draft the public comment. Thanks, Irene, for making the change.
I don't see any, is anyone here for public comment? Doesn't appear as if there's anyone else in the room, so,
Or online.
or online, so we'll go ahead with early warning signs.
High school or middle school?
Oh, middle school, sorry. There are two papers in front of you. The lighter one.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Crystal Mota. I am the attendance coach here at RFK for the high school and the middle school. There's the lighter one, the nice and light one is middle school. On the board there is the system we start. Green is for the kids that are in 1 or 2 tiers. And the first tier is from 0 to 25 absences. Second tier is from 26 to 35. Third tier is from 36 to 45. And for anything, I'm sorry, 46 to 50. Wait a minute.
Days they in school or
They-
days they
Classes.
How the periods they missed.
How many periods they
Yes.
missed, not days.
No, because sometimes they'll miss
Come
first
late.
period and they leave early, so
Okay,
counting a whole day is.
okay. So that's why we're measuring it on periods of attendance.
Well, and that's how we're reviewing it as well on this report. And so we do this review weekly, right?
Okay, so,
And it's, I'm sorry, but it's not sorted in any,
no, one's middle, the light one is middle school.
I understand that, but I know it's alphabetical, but
Alphabetical.
Yes,
it's not sorted numerically.
no,
So the worst, the missing the most are at the top.
The red.
no, the red are the ones that are missing, and it's, for middle school, it's 60-something kids. So all the red are those that have missed more than 46 days or periods, sorry.
And what's
that's
the
middle
total periods that we've had?
Middle school has 7.
So, but we've had how many total
So
periods?
it's 10,
7 a day.
so it's 10 weeks, so that would be 70 periods.
Maybe 49, if there's 5 sevens, or 7 times 35. So it'd be 35 periods a week,
Yes,
times 10 weeks, which would be 350. Let me check with finance committee here. So there's,
I mean,
That is correct.
that is correct,
so there's 350 potential attendance days,
Periods,
period.
periods, I mean,
yes,
for both.
no,
Okay,
well,
middle school, because they have strict 7,
okay.
so
High school it can vary.
high school it can vary. Because the older they get, the higher they get in grades, some 12th graders only have 4 or 5 classes, so we can't calculate it the same.
you're right
middle
about the
school,
number,
you
the
can.
total number.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to figure out,
The difference of how many missed and how many there.
to make sense out of all this
And so
data.
attendance, in order to count as, so attending, they want 90% attendance, right? And so you could miss 10%, right? So that would be 35,
35 periods.
right?
Well, you'd still be in the attending if you missed 35
The state would
classes.
consider that as
Yeah,
attending,
yeah,
and so it
okay.
doesn't count against us,
Okay.
and so that's why the different levels are there.
Okay. So the red are greater than 35?
Yes,
Okay.
the red are greater than 35, and then the blue, the yellow is kind of in the middle. They're having over that threshold where they've missed more than 45, 50 periods.
Okay.
And then the green are those that have missed very few, less than 25 to 30.
How come like I'll use that first yellow one, like, his second class, 103 missed. But then the one right above him is 63 missed for second class, so shouldn't
Which kiddos?
that first yellow one, Jocelyn?
Uh-huh.
So shouldn't that one be red? No?
No, she's altogether, she's only missed 48 periods altogether.
All the way to the end.
Total.
Yeah,
She doesn't like that second period.
Hmm?
seems not to like whatever is second period though.
No, I haven't really hung out with middle schoolers a lot lately. Me and, Aaron were supposed to do home visits, but they're in Gallup today, this week.
Can I give you this real quick?
Um,
Here's Sylvia. You're
so I have done attendance letters for middle school, but once next week starts again, I'll be hanging out with middle school and with Aaron, doing home visits and talking to some of those kiddos and families.
You just basically found a week at each place? Is that how you're?
No, I'll probably just do a day or two at middle school,
I see.
cause I
There's
have
just
more,
not as many.
yeah, the high school has way more kids.
Okay.
And they're all done. Like I said, since I don't know a lot of the middle schoolers, I do have notes. I have tons of binders. I didn't feel like I should bring all my binders. Where I do keep notes of each student on hand that I have, that I've talked to a parent, or Aaron gave me a suspension, or they got in trouble. So those are in a binder. They haven't been on this spreadsheet yet, because I'm used to writing on paper more than anything. So I keep everything in the binder, so if anything ever happens, I always have a hard copy of it.
And your point about they don't like second period, which, that she brings them in to do her conversation, she talks exactly about that.
Yeah.
Or if there's a high number on first period because they can't get here, there's a conversation about that with the parent, because it may be the parent issue, or
Right.
perhaps that needs to be dropped. And the idea is then you would add an evening class so you stay in your graduation cohort.
Okay.
Yes. So middle school is, I know I've heard about a couple of kiddos, and those will be the ones that Aaron and I check on first next week. And then you want me to come back by the next one, you'll have more information on the middle school.
So can you switch to the high school that you know a lot more about?
Yeah.
High school is the one that's nice and fluffy.
So the thicker one and the thinner one, in the high school is the thicker one? That's what we're looking at.
And these are the sheets that we use when we do our weekly attendance meetings. And we go through and we look at the number to the left.
To the right.
Sorry, my left, you're right, to the right.
Yeah.
And
Total misses.
yes, and this is for the month. This also includes absences, tardies, expulsion, excused. If they're doing online for some reason for a couple of weeks, it includes everything. So, but they don't break down by period what they missed. So if this kid looks, you might say, oh, they missed 16 periods. On the paper, you don't know if they're tardies or if they're absences.
But in your notebook, you do.
Yes, in my notebook, I do.
And that's just for a month.
Yes, it's from the 24th of last month to,
Okay.
the 23rd.
Okay.
This month.
So 4 weeks.
So we weren't keeping record at the beginning.
Yeah, I keep record of from the beginning. But then it seems like for those kids that the number gets really high, even if that first month of school is usually that tricky month, because parents are trying to adjust to new kids going here, and high school kids are trying to adjust to trying to drop off sister and brother. I still go over them, especially if it continues to go, but then there's some kids that haven't missed since that first month of school.
Okay.
So I try not to, hound them if they haven't really missed, school that much more.
Gotcha.
So if it does seem to be an accumulation of days, that we have I bring them in first, we have a conversation, we figure out what's going on, why they're doing. Then I can sometimes find a little more information on why they're late or tardy or missing. And then we go from there. And after that conversation, I send a letter out to their parents, letting them know this is how many periods they missed. If I hear nothing from them and the attendance haven't improved, then I send a letter for a meeting. We need to have a meeting with the parents and try to figure out what our next step is for whatever, if it's drop a class, add a CELIS, add night school, we try to work through that. And then if by chance I don't get a meeting, no one ever shows up or calls, then we do a home visit, me and Cindy. This week we didn't get to do home visits because Cindy's in Gallup. So we will resume the home visits that we have this week and for next week. And then after that, if they don't, then usually I send out a drop letter, like your son or daughter is gonna be dropped from RFK with their attendance, and usually that's what kicks them in the push to try to figure out what they can do next. And then we go from the next step on, are they going to be disenrolled, or are we going to put them on contract, or do they need to go to night school only, or whatever's best for that family and that student.
Okay.
So what is the time frame for this? When you, I guess, is it the 9 weeks or the?
Well, after parent-teacher conference, I tried to give everybody a good week or two to see if anything changed. Like, especially when the parents came in, I talked to the parents along with the student. I tried to give them a good 2 weeks to see what changed.
Okay.
And now that we're coming up on that time, it's the point where it's not much of change and those letters go out that we need to go to our next step.
So like from the conversation with the student to withdrawing them or dropping them, what is that time frame?
Oh, it depends. From the conversation with the student is just me letting them know someone's paying attention.
Okay.
And then for some kids, they either consistently come in and say, I was late this morning, miss. Or they call the school and be like, can I speak to Miss Chris? I'm running late. I'll be there. I have some kids that have now, instead of not letting anyone know what they're doing, they're at least communicating now. So we went from non-communication to communication, which is a little better than not knowing
Yeah.
anything that's going on. For
Taking
some of them,
responsibility.
yeah, for some of them, it works a little bit, and some of them,
Okay.
So, and then from there, once the talk goes out, that letter has already went out to their parents of how many periods, and then we go to the meeting and the next step, and the next step.
And we've never had this position before.
Yeah.
And so this is, she's in the front office, so this is a big step in intervention.
Right.
And it's an important step,
Yeah, and you're creating that partnership
yeah,
between
and
the
she,
student and the
they're
parents.
really comfortable with Crystal,
Mhm.
but it's gotta be addressed, right?
Let me point out that I'm glad you're a female because I see a lot of students are young ladies.
Yeah.
A few guys, but yeah, and I remember back then for us,
It was
my
opposite
time,
way.
as we moved up to higher grades, the women were the most persistent in the better attendance, better everything. And the guys dropped from that. But at the beginning, it was hard to motivate the young ladies to what was school for,
Yeah.
and get married and somehow something snapped. And of course, the top 10 ended up being mostly women.
Oh, really?
Mostly young ladies, yeah.
Okay.
And the column on the left is what grade they're in. And so if it's a ninth grader with real attendance issues, we need to get that addressed now because it's just gonna become chronic
Yeah.
and they're gonna fall out of their 4-year graduation course.
Mhm.
And we need them to stay in that 4 years.
Yes, that's
Right.
right.
And you have 10 periods?
Well, that includes evening school.
Okay.
Right. So would somebody call out a name with a high number?
Yeah, I can.
Adriana Archuleta,
Yeah.
94 started.
She ended up having her tonsils removed, an interesting way. My mom said they weren't burned off, they were cut off, which meant her recovery time was a little more. I've asked mom a couple times for a letter, but she is back in school now.
How about Zaldi Varela Moreno?
One more time, last name?
Varela.
Oh, we have a meeting for Monday. She hasn't been in school very much in the last week. I haven't been able to catch her. I heard she was here today, but I did food pantry today, so I wasn't able to see any kids. But we have,
So in looking at your data, what are you finding? Ninth graders are missing more than 12th graders, I mean, what kind of trends or what kind of conclusions from this data?
it is more ninth graders, I think, because they get to have freedom now. A lot of them get more freedom than they haven't had before. They now have to get themselves up to school, get them out to school, do things that a year ago, mom would make you get up and get ready for school. And 9 times out of 10, mom had to drive you, and someone had to drive you to school. Now you're a big kid. Now you can walk to school. And how fast they walk, or if they actually make it, is up to the student mainly,
Or their friend picks them
or
up.
the friend picks them up.
So could somebody else call out a meeting?
Hazel,
He had appendix surgery. And, he's been back and forth with the doctor.
With
For
complications.
with complications, and for the most part, he is in school whenever he can make it. And he is working on making up his work.
So for students like that, can you offer online?
Well, we
to fill
could,
it? Yeah,
we could, but, that's not generally how we do that,
Okay.
right? And he came back, and it was too early, there were other complications. But my point is that, Crystal knows what's going on with these students
Mhm.
and is meeting with them all the time. But sometimes it's to avail.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we dropped 8 kids. When Cindy comes back, they'll do 4, home visits.
4 for last week and then 3 from this week. So we have a couple
And
days.
some of those students are being dropped. That was part of my report about how this happened, but not being dropped without every intervention that we can put in place.
How about this being Diaz?
Destiny Diaz. Destiny Diaz, her uncle went to prison and they ended up moving in with the auntie to help, and now it's 10 kids instead of 4 kids, and she either has to drop them off or some days stay at home. She did request a meeting, so we have one on the books for the 4th of November.
What grade is she in?
Ninth. And she plays soccer, so I told her that if they call, I am going to tell them the truth about her attendance, and she doesn't want that to happen.
what about, Fernando Lopez? I see he's a 12th grader, and he's had 92 absences, classes missed, in this month.
Fernando,
His father's been deported.
yes,
Okay.
it's 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's 3 siblings all together. Their father did get deported. Mom is she paralyzed or?
So she never really came out of COVID. She's sort of in a coma and close to death. And so the daughter is staying home to take care of her. The 12, the student you called out, wants to drop out. He's washing dishes and is the breadwinner for the family. And so we said, we're not gonna let you drop out. This is where we're giving him a computer so that he can finish it home. Really, great family, lives in a trailer park right next door. And he's just devastated because the father's gone.
Okay.
So, but, smart kid, they both done YCC, we don't want them dropping out, so.
Okay, so it's all the
The Lopez, it's,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah, just because he's the senior and
And he's like an
He's so
AV student,
close, yeah.
but he's washing dishes
yeah.
8 hours a day, exhausted and
Right.
giving up.
He's a very good kid.
Yeah,
That's awful.
Have we got them in touch with a social worker maybe for help with assistance and?
so that's a great point. So when we do this early warning system meeting, the
Okay.
social worker's sitting there. with us.
Yeah, she is.
So there's she knows things, Crystal knows things, the conversation's happening. I sit in the meeting, Kara's in the meeting. I've known this family for years now. And so, but my point is, it's not being ignored,
Right,
it's being investigated. And I'm not interested in dropping those kids.
right,
Right.
okay,
So
okay,
so there's a reason why some of the numbers keep going up,
right.
right? And we're not ignorant about it, we're not ignoring it, right?
So like, there's these students like, Naul Escobedo, Luna.
Now, he's a
And the
very,
numbers are so different. There's 15, 9, 6, 6, 8, 6, 6.
Naul has, he said, so I have trouble getting up, and he told me he was lazy. I told him he
There you go.
wasn't, but, his grades aren't that bad.
But the numbers are for different
Period.
courses, periods are
Yeah,
different.
he skips. He
So,
skips.
so
Obviously, yeah.
Crystal brings up an important point. When we identify the number, we then do the quick lookup and see how they're doing in class. Some of these kids are passing all their classes.
Yeah.
Right kids, they're making sure they do their makeup work,
Mhm.
right? And that's an important piece of information for us, right? Because we shouldn't be dropping that student. We need to work on attendance,
But if they're a bright student and they're getting through, there's not a reason to drop them.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you structure the classes so that English and math don't fall in the first period? Because you have a lot of absenteeism in the first period?
Yes. So the algebra 2, 11th and 12th grade math teacher has first period prep. See what I mean? So the kids aren't missing that class, and so we're strategic about that. Yeah. English 12 the same way, yeah. Other questions?
So what I'm hearing is that this allows you to have more comprehensive, quicker feedback.
Every week.
Yeah.
Right?
One more student.
Shoot.
So how do
You're fine, you got
you feel
Same one.
about how effective this is? What could we do to help you? Is there anything that could help you make this more effective in terms of getting your kids to be successful and have a successful path?
I think the first part is them knowing that someone is watching and paying attention.
And cares.
And cares. And since I'm new, it's kind of like them wondering if they can trust me first. And, because the first conversation is just like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, miss. I'll try tomorrow, miss. And then a couple of weeks later, I say, hey, I haven't seen you in class. Oh, can I come in your office and talk to you at lunch? So then it becomes a little easier, and then things start to shift a little. But I don't expect them to trust me overnight, because some of them have went through more things than I can imagine in my whole entire life. And they're used to people coming and going. So once they realize I'm here, I get open up. I get kids that come to me at lunch and I help them with their makeup work. I get kids that come in from a bad night in the morning, they need to sit in my room office for a minute and cry. I don't say, if you want to speak, you can. If not, here's a box of tissue. I'm going to work and you can do what you want. When you're ready to open your mouth, I'm here. So I think at first I just need them, once they realize they can trust me and I'm not going to go around blabbing everything I hear about it, then we can start to have a different approach on things. But as long as they figure they have some place to come and cry, yell, scream, or just get help with schoolwork, that's where I'm starting. That works for me.
That's gonna be a fair question for me to ask after you've been here a while. I agree. And I'll look forward to hearing about that.
Okay, I look forward to giving you an answer.
And can you generalize the response from parents or from the community when the letters and then certainly the home visit? Or does it vary?
It varies. For the most part, the home visit, no one's home, or there is the adult in the house and they say they don't want to come to school anymore.
They can't get them to come.
They can't get them to come to school. I've heard that so many times. I can't get them to come to school. They don't want to come to school. What do I do? And, I'm a parent, but I can't tell you how to raise your kids. So I guess I can give suggestions. I can give you numbers. I can give you, sites
Why
to
it's
look at.
important.
Yeah. But I can't tell you how to do your job because I don't know what you guys are dealing with in your home. So it'd be wrong for me to say, do this.
And Irene so as part of our food program, she's ordered snack packs, they're called, right? And so Crystal has snack packs in her office, right? So, because sometimes they're hungry, right? And April, you had another question?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I
Yeah.
enjoy it, actually. I really do. I enjoy talking to kids. They're interesting.
And are you getting I'm always asking this question as a board wanting to get this information, kind of a sense of how RFK is viewed by the community?
They like it. They love it.
The ones who come.
Yeah.
And the ones who
The
don't
ones that
come.
don't come, even
They
the ones
still-
that transferred from. I've had kids that live in Bernalino that are coming here.
Is
and-
that right?
Yeah. And they rather come here, one, because they don't have to deal with a high school that has 1,500 kids in it.
Right,
And they're seen and they're heard.
right.
And it's easy for a grandparent or a guardian or something to reach out instead of trying to jump through hoops. So they like the community that it gives them. It gives a sense of, oh, okay, much easier. I'm heard, I'm seen, my child is heard or seen. We're not just floating through a sea of, fish.
Just a number.
Yeah, right. They're not numbers.
No.
So thanks, Crystal. I know we need, this is part of the more rigorously invested funding,
Yeah.
and it's intentional.
Well, it's central to RFK's future.
Yeah.
And, you know, attendance is a limiting factor right now for us.
Yes.
So, great, glad you're here.
Thank you.
Is this approach a unique approach, what we're doing in this school or?
This piece,
Uh-huh.
it's absolutely, it goes, well, normally you can't afford to put somebody in that position, right? So in the past, it was part of behavioral health and they would do a little bit of this. But this is every day. Every day kids are being called in to work with Crystal. They're not being ignored. She's not mean. She's really friendly. She's welcoming. And so she's being nice about it, but you need to do something about your attendance, right? And I'm here to tell you need to do, and this is the next step, right?
Yep.
And the letter's going home.
Yep.
And but if the parent won't come in for the meeting,
Right.
if the kid won't come in for the meeting,
Right.
then the letter goes, and then the kid ends up being dropped, so.
So on, how many kids from this list on the high school have been dropped or dismissed?
We just, 8 after the 40. And then after I have home visits next week, depends on, and determines how many more we'll drop
8 after 40?
after our 40th day.
40th.
yes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, we have 7 or 8, and we haven't dropped anybody from the middle school, but it's the next. Can't be ignored, right?
Yeah.
So,
The middle school, why is the number lower? Are they just withdrawing or?
no, they just never came. Our number's lower from the beginning. It's flat at 60, 61.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I'm here every day if you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, middle school update.
Did Aaron say something?
It's included in your packet for both the middle school and the high school.
Okay.
They're
So
both,
they're in Gallup right now?
it's career college and career conference in Gallup related CTE tied to regular high school. They're having a really good experience. So I sent the entire group, including both administrators.
Wow, for a whole week.
Clyde is with them, Cindy, who works with the capstone, the social studies teacher, the math teacher, to get everybody on board in this transition, with all things. Change mom. Get a chance to sign in.
I did not hear the last comment.
Oh, Irene's got the signature sheet and so, we have a parent here, who's signing in on the who's here sheet, what do you call it?
Attendance.
Agenda list.
Agenda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sign in.
The rock. Yeah.
And I appreciate her being here. We've been in communication. She's recommitted. She now knows that it's the next week,
Oh.
right?
Yes.
Had that conversation.
Yeah, because I missed the one because I didn't
Yeah.
know.
And then we changed the date.
Yeah.
Are you guys muted?
No,
No,
they're
we're reading reports.
What
middle-
reports?
the middle school and high school reports. They're in your packet.
Yes,
the-
I read them already. I'm good. I'm just curious because it went silent.
Well, you mentioned there's new applications for the high school. Is that pretty typical that we get new applications?
And so the 40-day count is important. And so if you graduated from Ernie Pyle Middle School, as an eighth grader, you automatically get enrolled at Rio Grande High School. And Rio Grande High School wants to count you on that 40-day. And you haven't been here at all, at all. And so all of a sudden they'll drop them, right? Because it's hurting their attendance rate. And then those students come. And so we will see applications after the 40-day, the 80-day, and the 120th day.
Okay.
Or after first semester, students didn't pass any of their classes. That's the, so we do have, I think we have 2 new applications.
The fall festival is going on tomorrow night.
It is Spirit Week, and so, yes, tomorrow, there is a fall festival in the gymnasium with a haunted house, a variety of games, a cakewalk, a photo booth. Yes,
Wow.
and it was completely motivated by the students,
Yeah.
and so the PTS, our Parent Teacher Student Community Association, went with them and spent $500 on decorations and drinks and snacks and stuff like that. And we're trying to contract with either APS off duty or APD to park in the park.
Yeah.
But we have a variety, a strong number of staff who will participate because they want this to go well, and family and friends, but not
Friends, so.
but not from other schools, right? So, on a lot of strangers that we don't know.
Right. Halloween.
No, it's a fall festival, it's not Halloween.
Is the photo booth
Oh, yeah.
free or?
It is. Actually, you, for $1, you get 2 tickets and you can spend it on games. And it's motivated by a couple of students that, are also motivated to do the yearbook. There's a little core that really, and I completely support.
That'll be neat.
We hope.
Okay, are there any discussions or questions about the 2 reports, high school, middle school reports, comments?
No.
Just attendance as always. Well. Okay. No more discussion? Right. Let's go to the Finance Committee report.
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfectly.
Awesome. Let's see. So Lanique and I met last night. We are gonna do the homework hopefully for us by reading the reports and doing the accounting and looking for discrepancies, but you're certainly welcome to make comments as Irene puts the accounts receivables, et cetera, up on the board. But overall, we are in good financial shape. If you look at the last page of the financial report, you'll see 3 greens where we have enough cash on hand. However, I would like to draw your attention to the rating score that we use for enrollment. I think we're at about 78%, which is less than the threshold. We are in the red. My memory and looking off the notes, I apologize. I think we're short 86 people, which translates into a lot of money. So I did talk to Irene via text today and asked her opinion if she was concerned. She said she was concerned. I am concerned as well. So with that, you can kind of now give us some guidance, Robert, on what you think your plans are, or you can save it for your director's report. How do you want to approach that?
Address it in my director's report.
Okay, so we'll hear.
And in the retreat as well, right? I think it's
Okay.
a long.
Okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, okay, so we'll wait on that. So wait for the report on that. Overall, I make the recommendation to the board when we get to the stage to vote on the finance package that we approve that finance package. The next topic from our meeting of last night, we would like Robert to, at some point in the future, not tonight, give us an out brief on the budget formula. that we use, describing the funding source, the unit value, the at-risk students factors, and how the state of New Mexico computes this thing called the funding formula. So Robert, when you get a chance, I think we meet every Thursday and we set up the agenda, correct?
Yeah,
Thursday before.
Yes.
Yeah. So at that time, when you're ready to give the briefing, certainly we'd like to see it. I think that would be beneficial for the team. For those of us who have not seen it, I have seen it. It's pretty complicated and interesting, so I think it would be a good idea for us to review that. So let's see. The other thing, yes, sir.
We have gone over that in previous board meetings. Pretty much every year, we have gone over that, so it would be in the minutes. People who have been here have seen it, and it was laid out. You spent a lot of time going through how special ed gets a bump, how Title I, all these different categories. So we've got it
We do it usually during budget
just
time.
before the budget,
right before.
but I'd be happy to do it during the training.
Okay, so I give a little room to.
Yeah, give it enough time, because I do think it's important.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to bring the worksheet on it, and I've asked Irene to print out our actual funding formula, so I could do it in a general format and then take it through what is called the 910B5, that is ours in particular. Because I do think the fiduciary responsibility is serious regarding the council, and if you don't understand the funding formula, you don't understand why Irene and I get so concerned.
Yes, absolutely. Hence, that's why we made the recommendations to look at it again. But I understand what you described, Mark. So I've seen it before, so I'm with you on that. Let's see. The other thing we talked about is capital projects. I'm not going into any specific land or building purchases, but as part of the Treasury, understanding money, how we generate and receive and request money, I think it would be a good idea, Robert, at some point in the future to quickly describe how you plan to get the money to execute the vision that you have for land purchases or building purposes.
Happy to include that in the training.
Awesome.
Doesn't take long.
Got it. Let's see. With respect to the bars, we recommend that we approve the one bar that we have, which is a decrease. We'll vote on that as we move through the agenda. And that is it for me in terms of comments. Lanika had some comments on the variances and the reports that she's created and about billing. And I will turn it over to Lanika to discuss anything she wants to discuss relative to our meeting last night.
Well, and I think we'll go through the variance questions when you and I and Irene and Robert have our meeting. I know, and Sylvia, and can we make sure, Lawrence too, to include Sylvia on our finance committee meetings on Wednesday night?
Am I
Yes.
on the committee? I thought I was, yes.
Yes.
So I'm kind of disappointed, Joseph, that you didn't invite me to.
We videotaped it. I'll send you the videotape.
Oh my God, did we?
No, we didn't.
Sounds like Lawrence.
Like what? And
Yeah.
so, let's see, and then I had questions on some, AP warrants, and so when we get to that part.
So if that's it, Lanika, I think that was a pretty good meeting. Was a very good meeting that we had. I apologize that I didn't invite everybody. I did see that as an oversight, so I'll make a note of that. Just for those of you who do want to join, we're going to host them to facilitate efficiency in my schedule and Lanika's schedule via Zoom. We're estimating that a good time for us is 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So I will send that out, the Zoom announcement, to Irene, and I'm going to ask you, Irene, to staff it out to the team. That way everybody can see it. If they want to join the team meeting, you're welcome to do so. But Mark and Ricardo, that's what I had for the Finance Committee report. Over
And
to you.
so, relative to the finance committee, I was on that. And so if Sylvia joins, that makes 4, which is a quorum. So we can't have 4 on there. I mean, I'm happy to be off. You guys are the finance people.
Copy that. Understood. I'll put you on CC just in case, that way you know.
Well, I think what the minutes need to reflect is that the committee, the finance committee is comprised of 3 board members. And I'm not one of them. I'm oversight on all of them now.
Mhm.
So CC and me and whatnot, Lawrence, is probably the right thing to do, but figuring I won't be there in attendance.
Okay,
Cause that turns into a quorum,
Mhm.
okay.
which is.
I'm good.
But at the same time, if you know somebody's not gonna be there.
I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Team, that's what I had. Thank you.
Either you can sit in for,
But
okay.
Cause then they're still on 3.
Then there's still only
Okay.
3 and it's not a quorum.
Correct. And there's all different rules when a quorum is.
Yeah,
Okay, so cash disbursement. Or no, vote on the committee, finance committee. They approved budget, so we need to vote on accepting the finance committee's,
I'll motion.
okay? Get a second? Can I get a second on the motion?
can I second?
Sure.
Oh, I'll second.
Okay,
I thought
all,
I couldn't because I'm finance committee. so.
all in favor, say aye. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay, cash disbursement, Irene.
Total cash disbursements for September is $442,191.97. I'll go to the first section of them. Let me know if you have any questions.
So I have a quick question, and it could be that it's their payroll, but the, check to Jacob Gutierrez, there's 2 of them?
It's not payroll, it's, that's our welding instructor, the,
Okay,
instructor that we have a contract with.
okay, contractor.
Mhm.
And then, let's see. There's one.
The Power School Group,
Power School is our program, our software we use that holds all of our students, attendance, classes, everything for them. Grades.
And then the other one was Philip Padilla,
Another contractor we have,
and what is he?
he helped with YCC and also the Guns to Garden program.
That way, just so I mark it and then I don't ask again.
And since you brought up Power School, we are going to be doing several trainings with Power School. We have a number of staff who don't understand our student information system. And so we have several trainings coming up, for Power School.
Would I be able to get into a training, just to see things out?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We're not paying by the person,
That's fine,
and
yeah.
so. And there's like an overview, I think it's $1,400, that might be helpful, because it's not like in the weeds.
Okay.
yes, it's not included if you have them providing the service, huh?
Right.
Training.
When you first did it, right,
Oh.
that's been 20 years, and we have a number of staff who's not
Sure.
familiar with it,
I see.
and it's been updated. So it's changed.
There any other questions on any of these?
No, that was it.
You're still happy with Wells Fargo?
They do everything we need, so it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah, we talked about that at several meetings. I had the same question and it was the same answer. Everything seems to be going well.
Yeah.
For all of our teachers.
So with the nonprofit, it's actually moving from,
Oh, good.
People's Bank to Lucenta. And so I'll at least create a relationship there and, you know, it'll be the end of the year, but Wells Fargo is doing everything that we're asking to do.
Okay, if I could get a motion to approve the cash disbursement for September.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? And we have a bar. We have one bar.
Yeah, we do have one bar. So this bar is maybe it may not go, it may end up being voided. However, it was in our OBMS system. So I reached out to Martha with Title I through APS. She was not aware of the reduction, so she told me talk to PED and see if maybe it's something she was not aware of. So I'm in conversations with PED, so I wanted to include this just in case, but just with the knowledge that I may be deleting this. If I do delete it, then I will notify you guys next month that it was deleted and we did not take the reduction.
But Irene can't move it forward.
Yeah.
Without government council approval.
So I thought it'd be best to keep it in there and then go from there.
Okay. We did a motion to approve the bar.
Motion to approve the bar.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Reminder. This Saturday is Fun Day,
Fun day.
and we're gonna be at the middle school, right, Robert? We're gonna be at the middle school. We're gonna be at the middle school. April, we're gonna be at the middle school, not the high school,
Great.
which we thought last time.
It's closer to me.
What's the address for the middle school again?
11:10, 11:21.
Is Atlanta.
I know it's on his
It's on
list.
your pin. It's on your pin.
Oh, hot dog.
There you go.
Look at that. Okay.
And it's at 10:30, correct?
10 to 2.
10 to 2, got it.
Yes, sir.
Did yours say the address? Mine doesn't.
It depends on what pin you have.
You just put those on.
Yeah.
And so-
Better.
Does anyone, we've kind of got an agenda of some items that we're looking at. Certainly, we've got now the funding formula added
Should we have an agenda for the training?
to training. Yeah, I think that's okay. I can send one out, what I've got.
Okay. I have
I'll
to
email everyone an
either
agenda.
leave early or make
Is
it
this
quick.
training that we'll get credit for?
You'll get credit as a great board member.
Certificate of appreciation?
I need 8 hours.
Oh, I know, I do too. Unfortunately, no. I guess we could bring.
I'm good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that hasn't done it still.
Okay, so does anyone have anything right now? What I've got is we've got to work on a strategic plan. We're gonna have to create a strategic plan. We've got a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes have occurred. We're gonna be in the process of finding, Robert will be leaving. So we surely need to have a very good strategic plan in making decisions going forward. So we're gonna spend a bunch of time on that. We're not gonna spend a bunch of time at this training on it, but we're gonna talk about it a little bit. And then we'll have a training facilitated by someone else. So it's not me trying to do both. But that will be just strictly the strategic plan.
Okay, so will we talk about the search committee and where they are at this point?
Well, I'll come to that in a minute. Yeah, Yep.
I'm encouraging it to be part of the training, that initial conversation.
on the hiring.
As part of the strategic plan, that the search committee be an item within that.
Within that, okay. We need to also talk just briefly about the charter, because I don't think we did it in the last one, did we?
Oh, I think it'd be good.
We got a charter coming up next year.
Yeah.
A renewal.
And I'm wanting to begin it before, the end of the year.
Yeah. And then you guys already talked, Lanika, about budget numbers and kids, formula. And the takeaway, as far as I'm concerned, is that we need more kids if we're gonna be able to continue to afford to offer what we've been offering. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's where our money comes from. We're gonna go over some on the new buildings, just kind of talk about it. And then, looking at new members for the board, or thinking about that, because some of us have been here for a while. Then, it's always good to get fresh bodies, fresh perspectives. And again, as you all know, we've been thinking about this for the last couple of years. Robert's leaving. And so we really have to be the ones who are the container for RFK's culture, for the programs that we're doing, for the way we are with the community, because practically Robert's been very generous in that obviously he'll be available to us. And I would like for us as a board to have a pretty solid understanding of management of the duties. And keeping it, because the new head of the school is they're the only ones who report to us. We can't do anything with the teachers, the
Yeah.
principals, anyone else, it's just that person. So we've got to be pretty clear on it, and depending on who comes in, may have a lot of experience, may have not much experience, you don't know who it's gonna be, so. Again, that's just my, to you guys that, we just need to make sure we got kind of our ducks in a row. So that's what I've got for the retreat, which will take plenty of time, but is there any burning issue? Bob, do you have any burning issue? Carlos? No. Monica, anything that you want to get on there that isn't? Sylvia? Lawrence?
I'm thinking it's not a burning issue. I just want us to be sensitive that this is a training session. This is not a board meeting. So when I hear a lot of the topics that were just discussed, I get nervous, but just be cognizant that this is not a board meeting. I know you guys know that. Just a reminder.
Yep. Noted in the minutes. April?
Yes, sir.
I got nothing.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like the board to be aware of in the parent?
I can't think of nothing at the moment, but
Okay,
if I think of something, I'll let you know.
just let us know.
Are you
Yeah.
still considering joining the board, the council?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
So I do have the time I could do it.
okay. And we also, for the finance committee, are gonna need a parent.
So,
During audit, yeah.
Oh, just during audit.
I think that's when it was, right?
yeah, so there's a requirement of a 6-member audit committee, 2 council members, Irene and I, a parent who's not on the council, and then a community member that has finance.
A financial
experience.
Oh, is
background,
that right?
yes.
Okay.
So you could play that role now and then
Okay.
move forward. Right.
Robert, do you want to talk about the strategic planning session and student enrollment budgeting?
Need my report?
Well, we've got it down as
An agenda item.
agenda item to discuss our strategic planning. I guess I kind of said, we're gonna have one and it's gonna get facilitated. And we can talk about when.
Yeah.
Saturday.
So, yeah, and so I do think that it's important to have a strategic plan. I think it shouldn't all fall on Mark. I'm happy to, work with some folks that are pretty good at this and bring a proposal for a strategic plan forward. But that would include, initiating the search committee, and then what we're going to do in this transition. And we can talk about on Saturday, the council may choose to do it internally. Some people know that, I'm now the chair of the South Valley Academy Governance Council, and they're in a big transition. And I am preparing with some folks a proposal, for them to do a strategic plan. And the person I'm working with is Jennifer Corners, who spent 8 years as the chair of the RFK Council, and has done a little bit of work, with
Yeah.
Mark, on some retreats here. And so I'm happy to maybe bring the idea up, and invite that person to a conversation with the council. So that if that's what they want to see, I'm happy to help move that forward.
Great.
It's a big deal.
That's
So this transition is a big deal. And I just want to make sure that I'm supporting the council's work. And so that, and it doesn't all fall on volunteers, that there's somebody who's very good at this sort of thing, that brings it forward as a draft, is reworked and done that way.
Hey, Robert, is this the lady that we met with maybe 2 months ago at RFK, or different person?
We met with her, Lawrence. She was, when we did our original, when you did the original strategic plan, she came in and did an overview of what theirs were, what she had done, and she did a training for us as a board. I'm pretty sure she came in a couple of years. COVID time.
Last year.
No, it hasn't been.
And the partner she works with, is an educator that, has done a series of strategic plans with charter schools, and actually worked at a charter school in California. And so he really, and Jennifer Cornish is retired from CNM leadership, and does good planning work. I just wanna,
Yeah, no,
if the council's interested,
Yeah.
I'd like to at least bring her to the conversation, to see whether they're interested in a proposal, and if she's interested in doing a proposal.
Right.
Yeah. Her comment is, she has a very hard time telling Robert no, right, and so, but I don't want that to be the reason. for the
Well,
matter.
she cares about RFK.
She does.
She's put a lot of time in the formation of it.
So I just want to put that out there as a possibility for the council.
Student enrollment budget.
My director's report.
Okay, we'll come to that, then. ED search update. So we have been given a contract by,
A proposal.
a proposal, which is the same as it was last year, same price, same, all of that. I think we all got a copy of it last time. You haven't. But I sent Robert one, and did you have any editing on it? Okay, so I will send a copy of it to all the board members.
Okay.
I wanted to just check with Robert before I sent it in case there was anything we didn't like.
There was editing on the date.
Didn't it change it in the one we sent though?
I believe so, and so it's
Well,
about
we
when it
had
would start, right, it's that when it
Right,
would
no,
start.
it's been edited now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And may need to be edited again, right?
So-
Whenever the council's ready to move forward.
yeah. So I will send all the board a copy of that proposal. The idea is, the intention would be, and we've talked about this, is we'd like to get it done by the end of this year. So that whoever it is and whatever their experience is, that can inform Robert about how he is gonna be or not be in relation to the school, to the new person and all that kind of stuff. He's available as a resource still. Then there's a way we can probably afford both,
Or
especially if we get a bunch of kids.
I'm willing to really look at it, because the salary for this new person is critical in the budget. And as we get closer to the budget, I'm willing to do whatever it is on my part, to make it work. I'd be happy to, retire early. I'd be happy to do, a small contract with the school to help with that.
Winter.
Yeah, I could do 10 hours a week and retire. I'm concerned about the budget, right? And it's a
Yeah.
little early, but as
I see.
we move to the 80-day, I don't want my salary to be the obstacle in moving the search forward.
Yeah.
I'll put it like that.
We appreciate
Yeah.
that. So that's where we are on the, search update, and we can talk about it some more when we're doing the training. As a training item that we can learn about the process of an ED director, like you do in trainings.
Yes, and I would concur with that statement.
Thanks, Lawrence. How'd you know I was suggesting that? Okay. Robert, report.
All right. So now that we have the understanding of the revenue reduction we expect based on the 40-day report, we need to adjust expectations. At the same time, we need to begin planning our projections for next year and develop a plan to increase enrollment or not. We need to be aware and fair. We have reduced our enrollment projection for next year that was just turned in this week, right? From 395 to 360, grades 6 through 12. When we did the 395, we really staffed at 375. Because if additional students showed up, we needed the budget to be able to hire those additional teachers. So we staffed at 375, knowing that the cushion was there. We're right around 300. And so we want to anticipate some growth. And so I told Irene to put it at 360, and PED had some questions.
Yes.
We have a new budget analyst, and they wanted to know why we had reduced. And so Irene gave an explanation, and it was acceptable.
Why we reduced from the 395 last year?
To 360. And I think that's a reasonable. Now, in the funding formula, and I'll show it on Saturday, if there's a 1% growth, and for us, that would, then 360, yeah. So it would be 3.6 students. And so if we go to 364 or above, then instead of the reduction we've been doing the last 2 years, the growth happens. And so it goes retroactive. So if we're at 380, it's retroactive to the beginning of the year, and we get that money in the additional budget beginning of second semester or so. And so
same school year.
Same school year, right? And so it's based on that 40-day count. So if we're at that number, then we get the additional funds, right? And so I think that's a much more appropriate way to move forward instead of.
We would still, even though we've projected 360, like our 40-day was 309.
Yes.
So we would still have a cut right now.
Right.
So
we will have a cut.
Yeah.
So 364 would generate growth revenue. Our 90-day plan presented last month clarifies the goals with PED related to the more rigorous intervention status. Increased academic proficiency and performance, and increase in graduation rate. In particular, 4-year graduation rate, because that's where you get the most points, is in 4-year graduation rate. Another target is related to attendance. The other goals are not achievable without improved attendance. We're not going to get better academic performance if the students aren't in school. I have a legislative friend who says you want better test scores, get better students. And for me, that means students that are coming to school, right? Our early warning system is in place and operational, as you've seen. The mantra at APS, our authorizer, is outcomes don't change until adult behaviors do. As a school of first choice, we are not a school of last resort. That means students who are not attending class, even after all interventions, including home visits, are no longer students at RFK. This is in alignment with the RFK attendance policy. We've been following that policy and have recently disenrolled 8 students and final interventions on 4 more next week. We will continue to monitor and follow our policy regarding attendance. Our attendance goal is 68% of students with 90% attendance or better. We didn't, the data for last year is still embargoed, but the year before, it was 38% of the students at RFK had attendance of 90% or more. And so it's a big jump from 38.
That was COVID too.
It was. And so, and so when PED came, they're very impressed with our early warning system. And they said, well, you've got an 89% attendance. I said, it's early. And RFK doesn't quit on kids because we're looking at them one individual student after another. And as you saw, there are students that we're carrying for reasons that are important and have no reason to throw them out of school. whereas the kids that are not attending and parents don't care, they're not gonna care about the test, they're not gonna earn their credits, they're not gonna be part of that four-year graduation. This translates to missing, so 90% means you could miss one day every 2 weeks. Enrollment of 300 is a critical overall number, and 60 students at the middle school is not currently viable, in my opinion. Operation of the middle school in some form is critical in meeting our four-year graduation goal. Those students come out of eighth grade is our best bet on meeting that four-year graduation. Creation of more diversified career training opportunities is one of the keys to the school of first choice model. I believe this strategy is what will increase enrollment in alignment of the new vision of RFK. Our numbers will be what they will be in the short term. Our numbers will be what they will be in the long term. With this new strategic initiative, I do not anticipate those numbers will have much to do with each other. I believe the new CTE facility is going to attract students that have not been interested in coming to RFK before. It's a strategy, right? The school is banking on it. I'm investing in it, right? We need to be focused on the transition, and that means next year, and I would say maybe the year after. The search for a director to implement the strategy, a successful school year regarding our MRI goals, because that's what we're going to close the school, and preparing for the charter renewal need to be the priorities of this council and administration. I'm ready to make those my focus with support and participation of this council. We need a strategy that looks at student academic progress, student attendance and enrollment realities, while raising capital and operational dollars. Operationalizing the new CTE facility and expanding partnerships is critical. And so I think that relates to the budget and attendance issues. And I think people need to really open their eyes. It's $1 million reduction. Although the funding was at 395, staffing was at 375, but we are going to lose that additional funding. And that's the reality. And I think that I don't want to close the middle school, but it doesn't come anywhere near paying for itself. And so we need to try to do both. Well, the CTE facility is being built. I am committed to try to raise $1 million towards the capital money. It's a big lift, but I've worked hard to create the relationships with those legislators, and I'm willing to give it a shot. 400,000 would be a good effort, but I'm willing to ask and ask and ask, and so.
And that capital would be
I am.
for the CTE, kind of
Yes.
primarily to get that up and running.
Yes, and so we have about $1 million after we bought the building and spent the money for the architect. And so I have an interest in getting the metal building built now. And the plans will be coming in. We're about to put it out to bid. They think they can get it built before the end of the school year.
Right.
And so we would operationalize the back building and then need to raise some more money in order to the cosmetology, the culinary arts.
Need equipment, right?
Well, equipment's easier than other things because we get Senate Bill 9 money, we get House Bill 33 money that can be spent on that. It's the big chunk of getting the building built, right? Is the real issue.
I see.
And I hope the council is going to be willing to utilize my ability to do that as the strategic plan moves forward and the search committee begins its work. And like I said, I'd be okay doing a small contract to help raise the money that we're going to need to raise next year. So I've worked hard to create the relationships. It would be foolish not to utilize those relationships. And those relationships don't necessarily automatically pass off to the next person.
I'm sure not.
But they do pass off. If that person's really intentional about doing it, I'm happy to do those meetings and work on creating.
Because those people have contributed to getting that money to begin with.
That's
so
right. That's right.
They
And
care. and
they do. They care about the
interested.
school and I might not be working for RFK, but those relationships aren't going to go away.
Right.
And I really, my nonprofit doesn't need capital. So the way the operational money worked last year, it was 2 years of funding. And so there's $80,000 in operational money for the nonprofit and $100,000 in operational money for the school coming from the legislature. We have a number of grants, some of which will expire. So there needs to be a need to continue to do grants. The reduction in this year's funding is really critical because that cushion is how it allows us to do grants that are reimbursable, right? And so people think that there's $1.3 million or some number like that, but we're going to lose 547,000 of it. And so $1 million means that we can do about $700,000 in reimbursable grants. So, but I think we really need $1 million. And so that means we need $1.6 million in cushion.
Do you have new grants in progress right now?
Yes.
That you're following up on?
Yes. I need to know whether they're being funded. And so, because if it's being funded, then I have to not write another one, right? So for example, we're doing a grant with the South Valley Economic Development Center for around the food piece. And so the work, we were $51,000 short last year, with operating the cafeteria. We picked up one of the employees that now works for RFK, and the contractor Canteen provides the other one. And so Irene's only got data for 2 months, but we're covering the cost and covering the cost of the employee as well with about
A
$2,000.
$2,000 cushion.
Right? And
I'll take
so-
a cushion compared to us.
So, and this
And they're still getting good food.
well, they could get better food. Just just a short example is there's a change in the law that says Canteen would now need to be able to use fresh bread, right? And so I'm interested in this USDA grant that I'm doing with South Valley Economic Development Center for them to set up a little business that could include students from RFK to make fresh bread, right? And sell it to Canteen. Canteen is, everybody else is complaining. Canteen sees that I'm interested in solutions, and Canteen, a huge business, could then become a partner.
Yeah.
So I am writing grants, and
I don't think Robert's creativity ever goes to sleep.
well, and we've developed a very good grant writer.
Yeah, Laura.
Who, and I've passed her off and recommended her to other partner organizations. She makes her money on those grants for partner organizations and is incredibly reasonable to RFK. She charges $25 an hour to write grants. And so that's a bargain. So I feel like I'm in a good position. If the enrollment was at 375, I could retire now. But we're not. And so that's my concern is this transition, that we keep viable as we transition to increase. And it's why I've got this whole group in Gallup. And they say this CTE conference is amazing. And so I'm hoping they came back really pumped up and excited and begin to see what it is I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm happy to stand for any questions. I hope that my budget concerns are clear.
Clear to me. Is there anyone on the board that isn't clear about where our budget is, right? And what funds this joint? Finance people sure should be.
Everybody gets it, right?
Yeah.
Every student's worth about $11,500. So when I'm putting out 8 kids, that's $100,000.
And you were saying earlier too, that right now, the middle school isn't covering itself, right? What is the rule? I mean, how many students could fit here and could it get merged on the same campus at all? Would that help?
Well, it would be tight.
Yeah,
And at the strategic plan, I want to talk about some other options.
Okay.
I don't want to give up the middle school. The
right,
building,
right, because if we give up the building, getting it back would be.
right, and right now, we don't pay anything for that building.
Right, it's
Right.
not costing us.
And
So the
RFK,
building doesn't technically cost us
yeah,
anything,
but who occupies that building could be different.
right?
There needs to be 100 students at that building to make it work.
Okay.
to cover the staff and all the expenses, other than just the.
Other
building.
than, the building.
Yeah, because right now,
No, it's a good deal now.
it's a great deal, but, so there are licenses of the teachers at the middle school who could be utilizing that. So I have some ideas about it.
Okay, so we can talk about it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
Great.
questions?
Any questions? Robert?
Thank
Okay,
you. I have a comment about the Saturday session, and that is that Jorge's gonna be here November 19th through the 21st.
who's gonna be there?
He's the organizer from what was Albuquerque Interfaith, now Together New Mexico.
Oh, is that who's calling the eye has changed the name?
And I like it. And so Bob and I went to the training in Denver, and on the way back, we worked on names and we had a couple options, and Bob and I were kind of in favor of it. It needs to be a statewide initiative.
Okay,
And so RFK is a member, and
Together New Mexico is now what it is?
yeah, and so I'll just speak to, and then you can speak to it. So I have an interest in being an institution of power. And that means not power with, not power over. And so, and Bob's been around me long enough. He sees that all the work I do at RFK, all the work I do for SWEP the nonprofit is based on the organizing strategies. That's
The strategies that come out of the parent organization, Industrial Area Foundation, is what's been adopted. And is the strategy basically of what used to be Albuquerque Interfaith, it's now called Together New Mexico. And to build that power organization, power with, is what communicating how Together New Mexico works and what those tools are could be a powerful set of tools for us.
as a board, but also at the new person that will be
Yes.
coming on could benefit from it. And so my
So
example,
moving forward as RFK as
Yeah.
a whole as
As an
well,
institution.
including the board, the school, the parents, the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah. So when Jorge was here last year, we had a conversation about, the Kellogg Foundation. And the idea that, perhaps the Kellogg Foundation could be a funder. And so, Together New Mexico hasn't done much work on that. But I can tell you that SWEP the nonprofit is now in the final stages of negotiating with Kellogg for $100,000 for each of the next 2 years. The strategy of getting money out of the legislature to channel it to ABC Community Schools through Bernalillo County was discussed. And I have successfully done exactly that. And so, provided we can pull that money out of the county, there's $100,000 that came out of the legislature through the Region Council of Governments that is now at the county, coming to RFK. It's $100,000 in operating money this year and $100,000 in operating money next year. Those are the strategies that I've learned, and I put them to use on a regular basis. Right, and those are strategies that could be taught to somebody that's coming out of the search.
Sure.
But they have to be interested.
Right.
Because it doesn't happen working from 8 to 4. Would you agree, Bob?
Yeah, it's an attitude and strategy.
Yeah.
And if you have the attitude of 8 to 5,
Yeah,
or 8 to 3, and the other 2 hours, maybe 8 to 1.
That's not it. And I'll be honest, I have not been doing a lot of work with, Together New Mexico because I've been really focused on what I'm doing right here.
Do they have board, a board or an executive director, or what is the hierarchy within Together New Mexico?
Together New Mexico has a board.
Okay.
I'm actually the treasurer on the board. But the decisions from Together New Mexico are made by a strategic team, which is not board directed, it's strategic team directed, which is theoretically two members from each, two leaders from each member organization. It's an organization for an organization. So it's community organizing and how to organize for strategic planning, how to organize for power with, so that it's the strategic team that really bubbles things up in terms of what
So I don't have a lot of them caring about education right now. Right, and so, but it's, Bob's on this board because he's seen how this works, how I do this work, and he's witnessed how successful it can be.
Yes.
Good, okay.
So I think maybe we could create some conversation with Jorge, when he's down.
Okay. Housekeeping, training hours, some of us still need a bunch,
some of us.
and they're still offering them.
Bios, I need bios. I only have 3 board members' bios.
Name names.
I need Bob, Carlos, Lanika, and April.
Mark has mine,
And you send me, you
And I-
copied me.
and I copied.
I don't.
And I think I sent.
I need it for
It needs over
the
here to be on the
website.
website.
Okay.
So if you could fish them out, if you could fish them
Somebody
out.
can forward it to Irene, that would be lovely. Or I'll see if I
I'll
can
look
find
for
it.
I have no idea, I'll find it.
I'll look for it.
Otherwise, I'm gonna write them for you, and you don't need to.
And if I can't.
You can write mine
Yeah, you're-
I can-
easily.
I got the,
Who did you
no,
have?
mine was.
I only have yours, Lawrence's, and Sylvia's.
Sylvia.
And I looked at
And you had
yours to
Angel's.
do
I
one.
got 2 hours to get.
Change the
No,
name.
no, you're fine. Your
I mean,
bio.
it has my stuff, but I.
She just needs your biography.
My bio?
A
Yeah.
little blurb about who you are.
Really write about myself. I mean, I
Yeah.
You know what, if you
started
go
it
on the
many
website
times.
and you look at the governance
Okay, I'll
council
send you one.
profile,
Write it
you'll
for
get this,
you.
you'll have an example of what
Yeah.
you're asking.
Just a couple paragraphs.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, it's
One-
not even, yeah. I think
One
it is
paragraph,
like
it's just
5
like
lines.
really just a
Started it,
summary
it went on and
of
on
like
and
your
on.
history.
No, if I do it.
They-
No.
They want more information, they can link in or
I'll look at my email.
Back, right, so look at my emails.
they can find out a lot about
And
this.
Committed to RFK.
Yeah, there you go.
So, a member of the community and committed to.
There you
And
go.
so regarding training, I'm now the chair of South Valley Academy. I am doing the trainings.
That-
And so if anybody needs help with those trainings, I'm pretty good on the quizzes and.
Oh, you doing it a self-paced one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would rather that.
So the self-paced has
I've done-
the
I've
questions
done
and
it.
answers. You have to-
Yeah, there are quizzes.
Uh-huh.
They read it and then quiz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Did you find it?
I did. I'm sending it to you now, Irene.
they are.
Thank you.
I found
Yeah.
all my quizzes.
And you can
Go forward.
speed forward through it and then,
Yeah,
then there's a PowerPoint and
Yeah,
And does that give you all 5 hours?
I'm gonna do 15 hours.
Oh, as a chair?
Yeah. Can't hardly wait. I'm getting
We
really
only
good.
have to do 5 once you.
I found it too.
All right, I just sent it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Bob's sending
too
his
quick.
and Carlos is.
I wanna say mine,
Yep,
I don't think you have to have.
Do we need a date? Do we need a date,
I'm like,
Carlos?
What do you need, Dave?
You
Can I make a
Definitely.
motion to adjourn the meeting?
Very easy to me.
Yeah, I'd like to second that motion
Thank you.
What was April's motion?
To adjourn the
adjourn.
meeting?
to adjourn the meeting.
No, not yet. We need committee updates.
All right. So denied.
Motion.
Motion denied.
Conflict of interest, we've all signed. Irene, is there any other paperwork, board paperwork? Conflict of
Let me
interest,
look at mine, cause I have a spreadsheet.
bio,
I think we've taken care of everything.
continuing ed.
The bios and the training hours.
So for the, committee updates, how would I do Lawrence? Are you
I'm
there?
here. Yes,
Have you done any academic stuff with the students that you're not letting me know or none at all, or?
I have done absolutely nothing other than tutoring on occasion academically.
Okay,
Is that the academic committee?
yeah.
Okay.
So would you want to discuss this in our training or?
Well, I'll give some feedback right now at the moment. When it comes to the academic committee, I think we have talked about in the past increasing our academic performance across all disciplines, math, science, history, financial literacy, et cetera. We are currently running at about 5% at each category, right? We need to, I think, certainly increase that. That's the mission, the goal is to get kids graduated and to get them academically successful. So we have talked about that in the past, and we've also, I'm positive we put something in the director's performance plan that addresses metrics to see positive trends and upward trends in academic performance. So we're currently at the same spot, April, with regards to academics and academic committee activities. It could be something we talk about at the training. We have also talked about academic performance in terms of competency-based education. And last month we talked about how schools east of the Mississippi, I can't remember which school, they have a not yet program, meaning that as you move forward in your academic studies, instead of getting a letter grade, they give them, you're not there yet, or you can advance. So we have talked about academics and the academics committee.
What can we do to?
Well, so just right now is just kind of an update, what you guys have been doing,
Okay,
highlights.
Yeah.
You two can.
Yes.
I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, you can explain it.
Okay, thank you very much.
For the executive director finding committee, are you on that with me? Okay,
Yeah, I'm there.
okay. You wanna give a report on quick time? So we got a contract in place, or a proposal
We have
in
a
place
proposal in place. Yes,
to get that process going as soon as we can.
yes.
Yeah.
With,
Right, so.
y'all know.
Yeah,
So we have looked at the timeline. Yes. Being able to do that, and we're coming up on the next step for that timeline. Right.
So, other than in that meeting, she was going to work on that and then, give us a new proposal.
She did, yes.
Here's one.
I'll forward it to you, that's what I said.
Oh, you did, okay.
Do you want to contact her and ask her?
I haven't. I haven't forwarded it to you yet.
Oh, you've got it.
She sent it to me, I sent it to Robert so that Robert could take a look at it. And then when he said it's fine or not fine, I was gonna then send it to everybody.
Okay.
So that's what,
That
which is what I mentioned earlier. Okay, building committee, I think you're on the building committee.
I'm on the building committee.
What's happening there?
Well, we're gonna look at the plans.
Yep.
Come Saturday.
Okay, great. Board training, we talked about that, finance committee's given it, so if I could get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll motion, April will.
Really? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Anyone
you.
opposed?
Aye.
Okay, adjourned at 6:11.